back. All of them. Together in one place.
Five Nights at Freddy's is a franchise with over a decade's worth of content, spanning countless games, books, and now a movie. There's a reason that no matter whose timeline you watch, they all look different. Making a FNAF timeline is not easy. There are so many ways you can interpret this story, and this is mine. So let's start at the beginning. Back in the 70s, a company called Fazbear Entertainment got its start by creating different props and mascot costumes for carnivals, and specifically for something called the Fall Fest. The Fall Fest featured various mascot characters, such as a bird, an elephant, and the most popular of all, Fredbear and Bonnie. These specific mascot costumes were so popular, Fazbear Entertainment opened a dedicated restaurant for them called Fredbear's Family Diner, featuring the same Fredbear and Bonnie mascot costumes from the Fall Fest. What Fazbear Entertainment didn't account for, though, was one of their animatronics from the Fall Fest going rogue, ending in a giant fire, with most of everything from the Fall Fest being destroyed. The specifics about the animatronic that went rogue and the fire are unknown, and will likely be revealed next year in FNAF's next big release. Although we don't know much about how this fire occurred, we do know that after the fire, Fazbear Entertainment started phasing out of the mascot costume era. They needed something new. The two men who helped found Fazbear Entertainment, William Afton and Henry Emily, stepped up to the plate. William Afton was mostly the businessman of the two, handling all of the money, while Henry was the more creative one, with him being in charge of building most of the animatronics and props for the company. With the Fall Fest era of the company coming to a close, they were only left with Fredbear's Family Diner, the standalone restaurant created for the Fredbear and Bonnie characters. In order to replace the mascot versions of Fredbear and Bonnie, Henry went to work on new versions of the characters, eventually creating the new Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, the same characters but with new designs and new suits. Henry called them springlocks suits. These suits are able to double as both an animatronic and a suit that the employees could wear. To switch the suit from animatronic mode to suit mode, the employees could use a hand crank to pull back the animatronic parts, leaving room for them to climb inside. The spring locks that were helping to hold back those animatronic parts were very sensitive though, and with even a little bit of moisture, the spring locks could potentially snap shut, crushing and killing whoever was inside. But if that ended up happening, Fazbear Entertainment had some common sense procedures set in place.
In the case that the spring locks come loose while you are wearing a suit, please try to maneuver away from populated areas before bleeding out, as to not ruin the customer experience.
Fredbear's Family Diner ended up being super successful for William and Henry, so much so that other companies tried replicating it. Another company proceeded to rip off Fazbear Entertainment's old mascot characters by creating their own animatronic versions of them. The leader of the group was Nedbear, a direct copy of Fredbear, followed by a hippo, an elephant, and a frog, all characters from the Fall Fest, and all with slightly different designs to avoid copyright issues. But while the rival company was able to replicate the designs, they could not replicate Henry's state-of-the-art technology. Their robots were poorly made and had to have giant batteries with exposed wires on stage with them. Naturally, the rival company failed and ended up being bought out by Fazbear Entertainment. With all of the success from Fredbear's Family Diner, William and Henry decided to branch out and create more characters for a new restaurant. In 1983, William and Henry opened Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, featuring Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. With the opening of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Fazbear Entertainment was experiencing success like they've never seen before. But with 2 restaurants now open at the same time, more success also meant more work for William and Henry. The duo were so wrapped up in work that they started neglecting their own families. William was the father of 3 kids, the eldest, Michael, the crying child, and Elizabeth. The crying child has yet to have a 100% confirmed name, so for this video, he will just be called the crying child. Meanwhile, Henry had 1 kid, a daughter named Charlie. The business partners spent most of their days working, so they both created different ways of taking care of their kids. Henry was the robotics genius, so he used his talents to create a new animatronic to watch Charlie for him. It was called the security puppet. This animatronic would sit by the door of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and make sure that Charlie wasn't able to leave the building. This made it so Charlie could play at the restaurant while Henry worked, without Henry having to worry about her leaving the building or getting kidnapped. The robot was linked directly to a green bracelet that Charlie was wearing. If Charlie, wearing the green bracelet, tried leaving the building, the security puppet would spring into action.